EGM Network.
Hi, everyone. This is Mary Lou Chambriello, and you are watching or listening to Cottage Conversations. We're all about real estate. Today, we are going to speak about home inspections. Not my favorite thing as a listing agent, but a very necessary thing, and I really do recommend that everybody has a home inspection. But before we do that, and before I introduce my guests, I just want to wish everyone a really, really happy Mother's Day. We all know that my favorite word is home, and home would not be what it is if you didn't have a mother. So to all those people out there, whether you're a mom or someone that takes the place of mom, we want to say happy Mother's Day to you, and thank you so much. So now that we've done that, and by the way, I had a great mom. She taught me everything, but I'd like to introduce my sidekick is Jennifer Artiega. Jennifer, please say something about yourself.
Hi, my name's Jennifer Artiega, realtor, almost 10 years at Remax Crown Realty. I'm a mom of 3 boys. This upcoming Mother's Day is very special to me. I have my oldest son served in the United States Navy. I have my middle son who graduated from Florida State, majoring in software engineering, and my youngest son who is currently serving in the United States military.
Aren't you going on vacation this weekend? That's why it's a special weekend. You're going to go see your family. And
I am. I'm going to see my grandbabies in San Antonio.
That's pretty cool.
My grandson turned 2 last month in April, and my granddaughter's actually turning 1 today.
Unbelievable. Okay. And my favorite inspector, and I say that with hesitation because when it comes to inspect my homes, I'm always a little bit nervous because he's a really good inspector, but it is Dan Guthrie from C2C. And Dan, please introduce yourself and say something special about you.
Yeah, I'm Daniel Guthrie, C2C Home Inspections. Been doing it for 15 years in town here. Mother's Day, I guess we'll stick on that. I love the ocean, C2C. That's the name of the company. My girl loves when we take her out to an island with her and her 2 daughters.
Oh, wonderful.
And so we usually do a lunch on an island.
And I understand that you like to dive.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Anything saltwater.
And then you have a friend that owns a charter boat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got 3 good buddies that all do different types of charters. Mm-hmm. That was kind of, we talked about this prior to getting here, of a good recommendation of something local. Getting out fishing is a great opportunity. Even if you don't do fishing, like I was saying, a buddy of mine, Brandon Campbell, will take you out on a boat, take you to different islands. He's a professional photographer, surf photographer was his first occupation, so he takes great pictures too. But he'll do whatever you guys want. Bring
I want to
food.
Thank you for that, because I'm going to tell you why. Our next podcast is not going to be about real estate or inspections. It's going to be about, what is that? What are we doing?
The Blue Water Open.
The Blue Water Open, which is something about charity here in Indian River County. It's evidently a big deal. I've never held a fishing pole, and I eat a lot of fish. I've never fished for one. But Dan, we're going to start right away going into home inspections because they're so important.
Can we touch on something right there?
Sure.
Blue Water Open?
Yeah.
You're sitting with the champion from last year.
Oh, are you? All righty.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Buddy of mine, Donnie, and I got a 62-pound kingfish and a 50-pound kingfish.
Well, then maybe I need to have you on that podcast as well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So now what's going on is we're going to get back to the subject, which is home inspections, which is, again, very important. When I speak to the homeowner, I say the home inspector's job is to call the baby ugly. So they do a very good job of that. So, Dan, please tell us what's the first thing that happens when you pull up to a house? Do you notice anything right away?
So even prior to pulling up a house, I drive through the neighborhood. And I look mainly at roofs to see if people have replaced the roofs, especially in HOA associations where they're all built at the same time frame. Big deal right now is roofs. A lot of people have had their roofs replaced in 05. So I'm driving the neighborhood looking at roofs.
Hot water heaters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
that's what you do on a drive-through. Okay.
Yeah,
and then
just get a feel for the neighborhood, the maintenance of the neighborhood.
Exactly.
Neighbors are pretty important.
Exactly.
Everybody kind of follows suit.
Well, I know
usually.
I live in that neighborhood that you're speaking.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so walk us through a home inspection. What's the first thing you do when you walk through the door? So that people understand. Do you have a system? Do you go clockwise, counterclockwise? What do you do?
A very good system, copyright C2C. I can't tell you all my secrets.
Yeah, but we don't want all your secrets. We just want to know. I know how good you are.
Yeah.
But we just want to know what to expect. Suppose I was a homeowner, because the problem with home inspections is this. surprise,
Right.
Absolutely.
surprise, you've got to fix this, or surprise, this is broken. So,
Right.
So what is your system when you walk around? What do you look for?
So we do a roof to foundation inspection. Everything from the roof to the foundation. First thing we're going to do is get up on that roof and walk that roof. We don't just set up a ladder and look at your roof. We walk it. We're feeling for soft spots, things like that. That's going to save us time in that hot attic.
I know that that's another story. And okay, Jennifer, do you have no questions here? Is it just going to be about me talking? Okay, because it's
You're
my
doing a
favorite
great
subject.
job.
I know. What is now? You told us already. So, but what prior to the show going on? What is the weirdest thing you found on a home inspection, Dan?
So I was doing an inspection close to the river in Sebastian, and they had a outhouse that was built up like a tree house. It was interesting, the stairs to get up there, and everything was kind of pieced together. It must have been a builder or something. And when I got into the attic, I found a very large plastic bag full of marijuana.
That was, and so did they get a discount for that?
What do you have to do with that when you find it?
The seller had no idea about it, and I just put it back, to be honest with you. I don't want to touch it.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah. Okay. The weirdest thing that ever happened to me, I'm going to talk about me because I like that subject. And the weirdest thing that ever happened to me on a home inspection was I had gotten a listing for bungalows here in Vero. They were built in the 1930s. And the poor home inspector, I feel really bad for him. And this was about 10 or 12 years ago. Anyway, it was an old bungalow, was not in good shape, and but I sold it for a lot of money. And what happens is I'm in the bathroom, and he says to me, turn on all the water and flush the toilet. So I turned the water on in the tub and in the sink, and then I flushed the toilet. And the next thing I heard was somebody screaming lots of very colorful words because all the plumbing fell down, and he was underneath the house when that happened. So that's the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I've also had a goat eat a wall, but that's another story.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, right. And probably across the street from the house with the turkey. So anyway, I got to read it over here. What are the top 3 things on your list that you look for when you do a home inspection?
Top 3 list of things that we find now.
Yeah, that you would find pretty common. That would be common.
So in our area, and everything's pretty much for different areas, have different things. Right now, roofs are at the end of their normal useful life. So that's the most important thing right now. Have you replaced your roof, or is it still the 2000? No, most of them are 2005 roofs. They took advantage of the opportunity.
Some of the houses were built then too,
yes,
along with being repaired.
We had a large influx of houses being built, and then we had the storm skim through, and any kind of issue with your roof was really, shown. Yeah. And so a lot of people took an opportunity to replace their roofs in that time. So they're nearing the end. So roof leaks is a big one. Plumbing leaks under sinks. Even if you're living there, a lot of people don't realize that they have a leak underneath their sink, and they've been using that sink for a while. And then double lugging, open grounds, wiring not.
What's double lugging?
Double lugging, you take an electrical panel off the wall, and they're taking 2 wires and they're putting it into one breaker.
I think I just had an inspection like that.
Yes.
It was a $2,500 repair. Yeah. Yeah.
It wouldn't be that expensive. It's
well,
easy.
Then it was something else. Okay. It was pretty interesting. Yeah. I don't do inspections. I just hang around. I haven't learned anything either. Okay. And let's talk about, Jennifer, help me here. I feel like you're just sitting there, Jennifer. You look great, but talk to me here. Okay, so.
Would you like me to ask Danielle a question?
Please. You want to take my questions?
True or false? Inspection reports usually look scarier than they are.
It's all about the inspector and the type of report that he does, and the way that you talk to the client. A lot of it is.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I like you, because when we do an inspection, and I'm usually on the short end of that stick, you walk through the house and you're like a walking, talking home manual, and it doesn't become as frightening. Obviously, they need to know what's wrong, and we need to disclose once we know what's wrong, but it's important to have someone that doesn't panic when they give a report. They're realistic, and they help the client, not panic, basically, because we want everyone, we want everyone to be happy. We want everybody to walk away from that table happy and excited that they're buying this wonderful house, okay?
Yeah, I like to call it educating.
It is an education. You're right. You are, like, I call you a walking, talking human manual, because you really do so much. Is there, should people consider doing a pre-inspection? Do you recommend a pre-inspection?
I mean, that, in my opinion, that's the way everything should be sold. It's not done that way. And I understand why, but it's great when people do the pre-listing inspection prior to putting your house on the market, because you're going to know what an inspector is going to find prior to you listing your house. It's no surprises.
No surprises, because there's always surprises. There's always, if there's one thing you can count on, there's going to be a surprise. Yeah, there's always a surprise.
And if they know the small items that need to be fixed, it stops the red flags.
Yep.
Well, as agents, we're very good at nitpicking on the little stuff that you can see
Absolutely.
But it's hard for us too, because sometimes I run into a lot of what I call casual housekeeping. Yes. And it's really, sometimes it's even hard to see what you're supposed to be inspecting. And then the other thing is that I want to make sure that the inspector has access to everything, because lots of times they put things in front of the hot water heater or in the air conditioner and that type of thing.
Oh, I have a question for you. Are you allowed to move furniture?
By rules of home inspectors, you don't have to. So a lot of inspectors follow the minimum rules of standards. There's standards that are applied to home inspectors. We like to think we go up and above those standards. It all depends on how big it is, how much stuff it is. I've been with an electrical panel in a garage where there is just boxes on boxes on boxes, and then they have cupboards in front of it that are attached to the wall. It gets to the point where unscrewing, taking things apart is kind of where I draw the line. I'll move boxes, things like that are relatively easy. And I've got two other guys, so a lot of times it's two of us on inspection for things just like that. If we need to move stuff, you just have to be careful
and how big the house is too. If it's a large property, it's good to have more people there so you're not there.
Absolutely.
Because I can't stand waiting. It's just I sit there all day long, even though I'm getting really good at my games. But yes. I really hate waiting. And then the other thing, I want you to tell the story because I had Ryan come to my house, and he did the wind mitigation and the 4-point for me because I wanted to lower my insurance, which my insurance company should have told me I should have gotten, but they did not. I thought I had it because I got a new roof. But anyway, so as Ryan left my house, he went through the garage and informed me that he didn't even touch it. He sort of like tapped it and said, it's time for you to get a new water heater. But that's not, so he cost me $1,700. Thank him for me. But anyway, the other thing I wanted you to talk about was when I told you that story, you told me a story about Ryan driving to work, and I want them to hear this because I want people to understand that that's who we are in this community. So tell the story about Ryan and the lake.
So Ryan was driving down the road I think it's just outside of his neighborhood, and he saw water coming from underneath the garage door of somebody's house, and he went and knocked on the door, got a hold of the owner, and shut the water main off so that it wouldn't flood his house. So he basically saved somebody from flooding the house.
And
so it was just
because he was driving by.
Just because he was driving by, and that's
put it in
so
reverse,
sweet.
backed up.
Yeah, and that's so important, and that's how into their job that they are, that they really care about their community, and that's a really big deal. Aside from the fact that you won that tournament there, whatever.
Kingfish.
The Kingfish. Okay, is that what we can call him from now on? We'll call him Kingfish. That should be the new name of your company.
Yeah.
C2C Kingfish.
Are you competing this year?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Wonderful.
Well, maybe I'll have to talk to John about that.
We need to go to the Blue Water Open, Mary Lou.
Oh, yeah, sure.
They're great times.
And support these guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a firefighters one that is at, it used to be Captain Butcher's. It's got a new one, and they actually have stadium seating. They bring in seats so you watch us bring in our fish.
Wow.
Well, I might come by and watch you win.
Yeah,
I'll let you know. Okay. What do you wish every homeowner knew about a home inspection? But
no home is absolutely going to be perfect. That's the seller. The seller has been living in a house for a long time and usually has the feeling that their house is going to be perfect. I'm not going to find anything. I'm going to find something on every single house. Brand new houses, sometimes I find more things than on older houses.
I had quite a few listings from a small builder, and I had a brand new home fail inspection. I gave those listings back.
Yeah.
I don't want my name on that. I don't want my name on anything that, brand new and you fail. You're ciao Bella. Have a nice life without me. Okay. How do you handle a bad inspection? when you have to go and speak to the buyer about the home, and you know that this home needs a tremendous amount of work? How do you handle that?
One issue at a time, so they understand it all, and just give them a good overview of the house.
Yeah.
And what they.
We did a podcast not too long ago about smart money, and I always tell my buyers when I work with buyers that smart money, the smartest money you can spend is on an inspection, because it's better to learn that the deal may not go through as opposed to buying a problem. So a lot of people are very concerned about spending that kind of money because it is expensive, but it's good money. It's important money to spend. So I'm glad
money
that you do
well
that.
spent.
Money well spent for sure. Yeah.
And then prioritizing the issues too as well.
Yeah.
When you have a large amount of issues, you got to prioritize which ones are the most important to do first.
Yeah.
How much are they going to cost? Recommend getting tradespeople out to give you actual prices as to what it's going to cost in order to fix.
Yeah.
And that gives you a better idea of what you're planning on spending in the short term on the home and even in the long term. My reports also are very organized, so they're easy for an electrician to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plumber has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 issues if there's that many issues.
Yeah, they're nice. They're easy. Even I understand
easy to read.
them. Yeah.
That's a big thing in our industry. It's
I had another
It helps
question.
us agents, and it helps the buyer as well.
Because once we know, and that's what you need to know as an audience, once we know that there's something wrong with that property, we have to disclose that. And that's our job. Our job is to be upfront and honest with you. So anything that they find on that report that we did not know about that wasn't already disclosed needs to be disclosed. And that also gives the other side what I would call a buying edge, okay? They have a little leverage there when you have a lot of things wrong with the property. How do you keep up with building codes, the local building codes?
Well, building codes is not what a home inspector actually inspects for, but they do set the standard of what we inspect for. So building codes are really there for safety standards, but we inspect just for safety standards. So it's actually one of the reasons why we don't keep up with building codes, because it's so difficult. That's your building inspector, the one that when you build a house, pull a permit, they're going to tell you all the codes. We're there for safety. And I actually had a good conversation. An electrician was buying a house that he did the electrical on.
Wow.
Back in 2002, and he was talking about that with code changes and things like that. Yeah. We keep up on the major code changes. You know, things, double luggings were allowed back in the past. GFIs weren't being used. So we keep up on the major code changes, but not all the little code changes that happen.
Okay, well, we're going to take a short break now, and then we're going to come back and talk more about home inspections and what to expect when you're inspecting. Okay.
Hi there, Mary Lee Chambriello again. I have a few tips for you. Those of you that live in Bureau Lake Estates or in Sebastian, you should be getting these on a regular basis. These are my postcards. So I wanted to give you some tips on what you could do with my postcard. First of all, you can do this. You can take this and you can throw it out, or you can do the right thing, and that would be to recycle it. Secondly, you know, it's a little far, it's a little hot. You can always use it as a fan. Or you can be like my girlfriend, Linda, and she thinks she's funny, and she sends me a picture every time she gets a postcard, and she uses it as a placemat. You get enough of them, you probably have placemats. But more importantly, I have a proven track record. These are all the homes that I've sold. Whenever you get this postcard, you'll notice there's different homes on here. So if you're looking for a realtor, the purpose of this card is for you to keep it, and when you do need a realtor, give me a call. Thank you so much. You have the best day ever, and it is a little hot in here. Have the best day. Ciao for now.
Okay, now I'm going to switch over to Jennifer now, who apparently doesn't want to speak today. But Jennifer, I want you to talk to us about what it is when you go on a listing and you have the listing now, what you tell the seller to do that they need to get done before the inspection. Because if they don't clean the gutters, guess what that's going to be on the inspection report. Okay,
Absolutely.
So what do you do?
I would say do some of the small things. I mean, some sellers don't understand what really needs to be done, so they do need our help.
And you're very helpful.
I try to be as helpful as I can, you know, and again, I always tell them I'm not an inspector, so, you know, I do know what to look for, but they'll do the, you know, the best for them.
How do you deliver the bad news about the roof?
Well, I mean, it is bad news, but like Daniel was saying, a lot of them are coming to the end of their life, and it's all about structure and, the, you know, being able to bind insurance, which a lot of people
Are having
you know,
an issue with, yeah.
having an issue, and they want insurance. So
they need insurance. Their lender requires it. Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, what else do you look for?
Well, like you were saying,
Trim the trees.
you know, the same light bulbs, light switches, curb appeal as far as maybe trimming some bushes and plants, clean driveway. I know that doesn't have a lot to do with the inspection.
Oh, I like a clean driveway. I think I pressure clean everything. Okay, and my pressure cleaner goes up on the roof for me and lets me know you got a little soggy area over here. But the other thing is that I think I'm going to put on my report now is checking the windows, because we always have windows that are broken that don't go up and down or don't stay up. Then that's something that we should do. Do you have any recommendations that we should tell people?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity if you have a client that if you are good, real estate agents are very good at looking at the cosmetic issues to make the house sell, make the house pop. When you walk in, make it look really good. But sometimes you have clients, well, what should I do about my electrical? What should I do about my plumbing? What should I do about that? That's a great opportunity for you to call C2C Home Inspections and have us come out and do a pre-listing inspection.
That was good. That was good sales.
Absolutely.
I'll give you an A on that. A for sales. Talk to me about the issues that we're having in Sebastian with the plumbing, that we're relining these pipes. It's copper. Now, what causes that? I've had quite a few homes, but they've all been repiped.
So I've been told it's our new water system. So it's reverse osmosis water is what we have now for our water, which is great. They're not adding the amount of chlorine, fluoride, that kind of stuff to our water in order to treat it so that there is, you know, knowing that they don't have any kind of bacteria in it. But what they're doing is a reverse osmosis system, very large. And the state of Florida actually has decided that's what we're doing throughout the state. When you have reverse osmosis water, you have pure H2O. You don't have any minerals in it or anything.
I love it. I have reverse osmosis.
Yes.
Yeah.
But while it's going through the copper pipes, it's very corrosive because it doesn't want to be pure. It's pulling out any minerals it can in the pipe, which is basically breaking down the pipes from the inside.
So
that's why plastics pipes better right now. And copper used to be the best. When I started
I know.
In this business, if you had copper, it was like, yes, you have the best pipe you can get.
I got a phone call from a high-end agent on the island, a good friend of mine, and he was like, "Are you having any water problems in VLE?" I said, "No, we're not, because we have PVC. Some of the houses do have copper, but they were built earlier on, but that's amazing. It's really an issue. And it's something I always warn my buyers for, and I always ask my sellers, have you had your house repiped if I'm working Sebastian? And then so go ahead, Jennifer, you can ask a question.
I mean, I deal a lot in Barefoot Bay. I sell a lot in Barefoot Bay, and so what we see is the polybutylene, the gray pipe.
Absolutely.
They were insuring it back in the day with just having to change out the valves. Now the whole piping system has to be changed.
And how much does that run?
I would say around $3,000, maybe more now with, you know.
Oh, wow.
Inflation of pricing.
Yeah. Maybe they're on a tariff or something. Huh? Okay. So, and now in the end, when you're doing the walkthrough, how do you start your walkthrough? How do you call? I know I'm not allowed to see it, and that's another thing sellers don't understand. Sellers think that they should be privy to the home inspection, and I have to explain to them, you're not paying for it, okay? And we'll see it if it's bad, but we're not going to, but you're not paying for it. The person that's paying for it is the person that gets to go over it. So you're going through the home inspection, and you're going to finish up with the buyer.
So I'm an inspector that I like the buyers to be there, because then I can show them things as opposed to seeing pictures in my report.
Exactly.
Which we do color photos, and we like to think that it's the next best thing to you being there, seeing our report.
But they should be there, really.
Yes.
If they can, they should be there.
Do you like the buyers to be there the whole time?
So there's two options. I'm a psychoanalyst. That's just the way that I am. So if I had a home inspection, I would want to follow my home inspector. That's the way I would get the most money out of the inspection, would be follow somebody around. I'm not against that.
Okay, so you don't mind that?
No, I don't mind that at all. The best way, it will take me a little bit more time to go through the inspection and do everything, but I'm all right with that. You're paying for the inspection. You're the customer.
It's reassuring to
yes,
them, yeah.
absolutely. Especially first-time buyers. I love it when a first-time buyer is there with me, walking around everything. I'm teaching them so much stuff that they had no idea about. When you own 5 or 6 houses, you've been through a lot of these issues, so you don't have to show up and follow me around. What's nice, though, at the very end, what we normally do is give us an hour head start. We knock out a majority of the inspection, and then the last half an hour, we'll walk you around the house, show you where the water main is, show you if there's stucco cracks in the exterior, seal it up, how to do it. We give you a lot of recommendations, so you learn a lot being there. So we walk around the exterior, and then we walk around the interior, and we point out all the issues and all the good things, too. We don't just point out bad things.
And that's big. That's big. And
I really like that because, you know, I've worked with a couple inspectors that either like their client, the buyer, to show up towards the end of the inspection. So they're not following them around.
We are out of time. Okay. I just want to say thank you to everybody and wish you all, again, a very happy Mother's Day. And remember that the best word, no matter what language you speak, is home. There's nothing nicer in the whole world than coming home. And thank you so much. Ciao for now. Till the next time. Thank you so much. You did a great job.
Thanks.
And you have to talk a little more there. I'm just spitting out.
A home divided. What makes this home with a true mother-in-law suite so special? It is rare to find a home where your loved one can safely walk to the library, Walgreens, Aldi, 2 banks, a hairdresser, and 2 pizzerias. No driving needed. Just freedom, dignity, and independence for all. Brought to you by Mary Lou Ciambriello with RE/MAX Crown Realty.